Just a fair warning, I'm on the cusp of my Wi-Fi signals because my dad moved his desk and the router, so I might chop out here and there and probably won't get everything, but hopefully we'll be fine since it's just us two and it's not like a whole server talking.
Yeah, true. All right, man. All right. Yeah, I also just woke up from a nap, so I might sound a little like I'm like out of my mind. So it's just
Oh, it's
my
all good.
body,
All good.
just it's just my brain waking up. I'm not baked or anything like that. Yeah, excuse me. A lot of people think I sound like I'm baked when I'm waking up, but
I tried to get what is it? Mario on here or an additional people, but then mainly just us two that's just talking again.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I do like that we are able to bounce off each other a lot better. Whoa, I'm feedbacking. I'm
Yeah.
feedbacking.
Yeah, you right. Sorry, my boss just texted me too.
Oh,
Everyone
that's
wants my
fine.
attention now. All of a sudden, it's asking if I can work on Tuesday.
Oh, that's fine. Go
Uh,
ahead.
Day is that? I'm gonna ask which day is that so I can figure that out. Anyways, yeah. So figured that out in a minute. Um, so yeah. What's our discussion is Batman today.
Yeah,
Anything else?
I think it's still mainly. Hold on. I'm getting feedback from your side. Is there a way to lower it?
Like my value?
Yeah.
Yeah. How's that?
Hello.
Hello?
Okay, there we go. Now I'm not playing back on your side.
Alright.
Yeah. Mainly I already okay, there's the feedback again.
Sorry.
What's the
I,
output on? Is it on speakers or something?
I got exit full screen again. The output. Do that. Output is it's the speaker and the laptop.
Oh, okay.
It
How
might
do I
be it could be the input too, but I don't know. It might, because you might be hearing my mini fridge if there's something else. Otherwise, I bumped something on my desk that might have made a bit of a noise.
Oh, it's just me when I speak. Then I think there are instances where I show back up or speak back up on your side of your end. But
Oh, so
yeah, but not right now.
like oh, okay,
Yep.
okay, cool. Well then, so yeah, so it's mostly Batman. What else?
Yeah, but
Or
I think mainly Batman because that's the one thing I really want to focus on.
okay,
Yeah. So what are your
okay.
thoughts about it?
I honestly thought it was a pretty good movie. I mean, I mostly heard nothing but good things. I heard most of people there were small complaints that some people had with it,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I can't. I feel like some of the smaller complaints, like I've heard, is like time length or just I don't know. I feel like time length can be also hypocritical in a lot of sense, especially like I'm like, well, I mean, yeah, it's long, but a lot of it kind of felt more like it was necessary. This isn't like Zack Snyder says Dawn of Justice, that's the wrong one. No, there's not like Zack Snyder's Justice League, which was almost 4.5 hours long, and a lot of those scenes kind of weren't
Yeah, especially
needed.
that singing scene and the extended. There's probably a
Yeah,
lot,
just
but I haven't watched it more than once to really remember much.
I've watched it twice, and second time was like in parts, but I just yeah, but no. Otherwise, I thought the movie was good. I
Do you
thought the
find it?
writing was. Hmm?
Agree. I agree. The writing was good too. Do you find it hard to find a flaw with it, even though you're trying to be like play both sides of the game, where you praise
Yeah,
it, but then also find like the tiny faults? Because there's no way it can be a 10 out of 10. Too.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. And yeah, and that's just I guess point being is I thought it was fantastic. I most of the complaints I heard kind of just felt more like either a So a lot of people just the points that people had were either minor, like just with the time length, or a
Yeah,
lot of it was just kind
runtime
of
or the
like,
third act too.
yeah, and or some was like, well, a lot of it was like, a lot of it was on like, some people just couldn't break Robert Pattinson out of the
Oh
role
yeah,
of, I
especially
mean, it,
Edward. Hmm.
yeah, but I don't know. A lot of that was, I'm like, well, those are minor things. Other than that, I mean, like, what's wrong with the movie? Like, is there anything that's wrong with the movie other than that? Everybody's like, no, movie's good. Everything was basically perfect about it, you know. And I was like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I thought it was fair. I thought it was, I thought it was fairly perfect. You know, it's the best way I put it is Dark Knight's always going to have a special place in my heart among the Batman films. It's just so fucking good. There's this not, but this is definitely up there. And this is kind of shows the side of Batman we didn't see in Dark Knight. Dark
Hmm.
Knight is the more superhero and action ish side of Batman, where this is like Arkham's Batman.
Yeah, getting into the
This is
mentality of his character too.
Yeah, this is world's greatest detective Batman, not
Yeah,
Dark Knight
goddamn right.
Batman. And I'm just looking. I'm just like, yeah, that's it. This is it right here. This is it right here. Two Batman movies, and they both established the Dark Knight in his two best points. And I'm like, yeah, I thought the movie was good. I've seen it 3 times, so I'm like, this. Every time I go in there and watch. I've watched it. I'm just like, I just can't get out of it. It's so perfect. The Riddler is exactly how he's supposed to be in the comics. He's an seeking psychopath who loves the
Hmm.
attention.
Yep,
You
and
know,
that's made Paul Dano made it even more clear when Batman's like, "Oh, you're a psychopath" or whatever, and he just flips his shit too. And that's so in
mm-hmm.
character.
and
That's where Paul Dano sold it for me when he just flips his
mm-hmm.
shit.
God, and the line he says too, it's going to be perfect. We're going to watch together. What do you to watch? He's like, you didn't figure it out? Oh, you're not as smart as I thought you were. I was like,
Exactly.
oh. I was in my seat like, oh no, I'm like, God damn it, this is the Riddler. It's fucking Riddler, y'all. I was like, oh. But yeah, that movie was so fun. It was so good.
I wish I
So
could
good.
show as much excitement as you because I am still a Batman fan, but I feel like I'm a closeted Batman fan where because I grew up with Superman mainly and the Christopher Reeves in
mm-hmm.
Smallville, but then when people keep praising like Batman throughout the years, I'm like, I like Batman, but show Superman's not but so I'm like, I wish I was excited as you, but I think it did. The one thing it did service for me was it showed that Batman is a character. He's not just a guy with no superpowers, just kicking ass. And I think that
Mm-hmm.
movie really solidified that for me, and it actually made him just a character and not like a character or person that people just say, "Oh, here's my favorite superhero," because he's Batman. Like,
Right.
yeah,
And yeah, that's how I looked at it too. It's it's a good movie. Honestly, this is why and I get why a lot of people do, and I feel for you on that because honestly, I grew up with a lot of Superman also, and I still, and as time went on, I'm like, y'all wonder why. I remember at one point, there was this one comment that somebody made in school that went to school. They're like, I don't get it. Why is it that they they can do Batman's movies so uniquely, unlike anybody else in like DC?
mm-hmm.
I looked at them and I was like, well, that's the thing. That's a really good question. That's a really good question. But honestly, I guess the answer kind of falls on this. A lot of people, when it comes to Superman's movies these days, they don't really try to do the same thing what they did with Batman. I'm like, honestly,
Yeah,
the trick to it is a lot more simpler than you think.
yeah, it
The
definitely
simple,
is.
the simple conclusion. Stop looking at it as like a comic book hero.
Yeah,
Put it,
or referring to back to Christopher Reeves movies
yeah,
too, because that'll always have its place. But then like you can't redo the same thing or capture the same magic that movie had.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I was like, I'm gonna stop looking at it like again, or hell, the biggest sin about Superman. Stop looking at him like he's God.
Oh
I'm
yeah, oh, yeah,
just
yeah,
I'm throwing that out there because I'm just gonna say it. Most people these days don't believe in God. And if they do have some visualization of what God is, it doesn't work in film because people can't relate. That's the
yeah.
thing. But no, we're the fucking just makes me think back to the comment that was made in Man of Steel that made me just realize the irony behind that quote. He'll be an outcast among them. They'll kill him. How? He'll be like God to them. Oh yeah, Zach, you took that line. You took that line and you fucking like flash speed ran with it. Here's the thing. I'm not against the idea of him being played as like a symbol of hope. That is a good way to put it, and you can still even utilize that a bit more, even along the lines of like Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor is a guy who is a billionaire who despises the fact that the world's obsessing over this individual set of individual. Though, what's so special about him? Why? Because he can fly. He has super duper strength and everything. Or hell, you can go the route that like even in his mind, he's similar to Batman in the sense that he looks at Superman. He's like, this guy is dangerous, and we're obsessing over him. So the difference is, Batman was willing to extend a hand to Superman before he automatically just assumed that he was a threat. Lex Luthor in her hand, he's like, no, he's a threat. I don't like him. We need to get rid
Yeah.
of him.
Now
You
that
know,
you
you
bring
can
that
do.
line up, now that you bring that line up from Man of Steel, it does. Even though I do think that Zack Snyder kind of goes ham on the God symbolism with Superman, I think it kind of
Mm-hmm,
planted that seed into general audiences' minds is that you could probably do the visualization or kind of picture Superman as like a godlike figure, like almost like the Greek gods and stuff. Especially with how
mm-hmm,
there's that one Alex Ross picture of him holding the Daily Planet up, like Atlas, I believe that's the statue's name or whatever, right?
mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I can commend Zack Snyder for at least putting that aspect out there. Although he did
yeah,
kind of run with it. That's about it.
yeah. and and yeah, even what you're saying that about playing that visualization, it's also that's another thing too. When you put that image in people's head that he's supposed to be like this all powerful being, you kind of make it hard to turn your back on it and try to fix it later. Especially when you start to realize, oh, this isn't working. It doesn't work. You put it in our heads that he can move this fast. He's this strong. Nothing, and this and that. Now, I guess the question is, where's the growth? Where's the challenge?
Mm,
At this point, the only thing that can challenge this guy is a green rock and another Kryptonian. It just kind of just and again, it makes the character unrelatable. It's
yeah.
almost like bring us the idea of even his own growth. What if he doesn't? Again, think of this. What if we don't know about all his powers right away? Maybe the
I think we found the root of how writer writer rooms try to discuss Superman, they just kind of give up. It's like, okay,
yeah,
this works, that works, and then wait a minute, let's just go back to Christopher Reeve blueprint.
yeah. It's just like, and that's
It's tough. Yeah, it's tough to just sell Superman or make him look good
yeah.
to
It's
be as iconic as Batman.
yeah. I mean, and I've been trying to figure this out for years, just because I feel like more of DC can be brought into the light, just like Batman has. The problem is that
Mm-hmm.
it just seems like with Batman, everybody's just Batman. They like everybody thinks he's just so easy to do. I'm like, he's not
Yeah, but
easy
he's
to
not
do.
easy.
I was
Yeah,
like, oh my, I'm like, they fucked him up too.
yeah,
Again, Zack
yeah,
Snyder's movies fucked him up. Whether you love him or hate him, I think the movie is stupid as fuck. I still enjoy it. I mean, I definitely won't say I don't hate it as much as Batflack, but I still don't like it, which is the Batman and Robin. Even that Batman was kind of like,
oh
ugh,
yeah,
what the
that
fuck?
did kill the
What the
franchise for a
fuck?
while too. Yeah.
Yeah, just like it's just like okay, it's like you can mess them up too, but I mean, you can mess him up too. The thing is that you also got to learn a way to make him more than just he's a flying god. person thing. Wouldn't I mean, you can give him the idea of hope, but also give him something that that also challenges him. You know, not in like not like, oh yeah, we're gonna give him General Zod because they're the same person, they're the same race, right? So that's a challenge on a power level. No, wrong, rewrite it. We need something that pushes him to become a symbol of hope. And again, step away from the ideology about him being a god, because that just doesn't work. It feels like when they try to go that path, they don't want to. It's like they don't want to commit to it, or at the very least,
Yeah, I can
they are
understand
going
that.
to have him be viewed as some kind of god. Why not have Superman tell him, no, I'm not a god. I'm just a person trying to help, or trying to go something like
Oh
that.
yeah,
That
yeah.
way, it shoots
To
down that
reassure the
rule.
audience.
Yeah, it shoots down the rule, and it also shows you. It also kind of shows where his heart is, because at this point, they're like, oh, they're going to treat him like a god, and he's like, yeah, I'm basically God. Just the way you see it in the movies, he
Yeah,
just
yeah.
doesn't shoot it down. He just accepts it like, yeah, I'm God. I'm just like,
Yeah, they don't even give Henry Cavill a line to be like, I'm not a god. I'm just a person trying to help.
yeah, just trying to help, trying to do the right thing. That, boom, right there. See, already fixed. We already fixed
Yeah,
one problem
one
in that
problem
movie
done.
just by figuring that part out. And yeah, you got to give him a villain that pushes that ideal of him trying to be more a symbol of hope. Yeah, going the route of Lex Luthor was not a bad idea, because Lex Luthor would work in that sense. Don't write him like how you did
Yeah, it's just how
this
they fit
in
him
this
into
recent.
BVS didn't work well.
That just didn't work. And plus, yeah, that. But I mean, other than that, I mean, yeah, I
Yeah.
thought that one was good. I mean, hell, Penguin was fucking fantastic
Oh
too.
yeah,
Fucking
yeah.
Colin or
From
just like,
from Bullseye to Penguin, eh? Way one hell of a downhill uphill.
yeah, right. I was like, oh shit, he's the fucking penguin. Oh shit, is that the penguin? Is that actually penguin? I was like, oh,
I was a
okay.
bit
I mean,
disappointed though, because I wanted his Arkham like South British accent, whatever, where he's more like wakey wakey Wayne and all that. But I don't mind the more New Yorker accent either. It's fine.
yeah. Yeah, I feel that. I was kind of hoping a little bit for that too, but I mean, yeah, it does work. It does work for this movie in this movie's context. So I ain't tripping.
Yeah.
I ain't twipping. I ain't twipping.
I think oh yeah, they didn't even establish him as like what is it, like how in the comics where he was Penguin's supposed to be rich or whatever, almost like as rich as the Waynes. I don't think they
Yeah,
established that either too. So yeah, he might just be like a normal guy who just rose up in the criminal underworld too.
true. And then that's what. And yeah, and then that's also just one of those things that also shows that they try to be mindful about the relevancy about certain characters' backgrounds, because not everybody needs their background explained in the movie. That doesn't really show relevance. Maybe it'll be brought up later if
Yeah.
they, depending on how else they utilize this penguin or not. But that's a good way to do it, though. It's just being mindful of relevancy, something that a lot of the recent DC movies just didn't do. We got all these characters, all their backgrounds need to be explained on who they are, why they connect to the story, and why are they here. And like sometimes the character can just be present, wrong place at the wrong time. And like, or just in Penguin's instance, he works because the fact is that yeah, he is a criminal, just like the Falcones were. And yes, he has worked for the Falcones in the past as their drug dealer and a weapons dealer. He could simply just be a punk character. He'd be a punk character for now,
Yeah.
but be a punk character for now, because we can't have too many big bosses in the story, because
Oh
otherwise
yeah, yeah.
it
It'll just
just
overwhelm the Bat world.
yeah, that and overwhelm the audience. But like, I'm okay. So who's who's the big bad in this story? Because I have no idea at this moment. Yeah, I have no idea either. I thought it was Riddler, but no, it's actually Falcone. No, it's actually Penguin. And I'm just sitting like, God, just off me now.
But referring back to was it
So,
our
sorry.
previous your previous theory you had where it was the League of Shadows and not the Court of Owls behind everything?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like since he didn't this Bruce Wayne didn't really go like train with like the League of Assassins or whatever. I feel like Matt Reeves says he wants to take a more grounded approach to it, but I think there's still a good chance to do grounded, but then also like fantastical, because you don't want to go too grounded. Whereas the Dark Knight is kind of struggled. The Dark
Yeah.
Knight universe where kind of struggled to keep its villains believable while also being fantastical.
Yeah.
And then I think also with how you mentioned how there wasn't shouldn't be too big of players or so it overwhelm the world and the audience. I think it was good that they
Mm-hmm.
only made like the most probably rich. How do I put it? This I like that they only really mentioned the Waynes being like a big name in Gotham because of how they had that
That
orphanage thing and campaign thing,
yeah.
and then there's not really like a mention of like say Cobblepot or Hush's family or something like that, and they mentioned the Arkhams too, which is like
Yeah.
the Earth One comic where Martha is actually part of the Arkham family too. So I like that they did that.
Yeah.
So it puts focus on those two families while also it puts those two families front and center. And I think it might
Mm-hmm.
tease the things to come because in Volume 3 of Batman Earth One, they say that was it they say that they found Bruce Wayne's grandfather alive or something, but then he turns out to be Clayface.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, and I like that too. I liked how how they utilized the Arkhams in the story the way they did. And again, it's another good way how you bring up a known character from the lore without trying to weigh in too much on who they are and what they did. You literally kept it just kind of just straight to the
Simple. Yep.
yeah, just trying to straight to the point. Like what? Like okay, look, we're mentioning a big name. What's the relevance to the point? And you just left it at that. You just left it at that. You ain't got to explain to us about the Arkham's open the Arkham City or open Arkham Asylum for the mentally ill and blah blah going through their history. I'm like, we don't need the history lesson. They don't matter anyways. They're not in the movie. They're dead. You know what I'm saying? Same with like even I actually don't know if you caught that technically Hush's father
Yeah,
was
yeah, yeah,
mentioned.
yeah.
But yeah, and that's a nice little and that was a nice little
Like
mention
yeah, wink,
with
wink, nudge, nudge
yeah,
from the director.
so yeah, exactly. So it was good how they did that, and but yeah, that was just the other thing too. It's just yeah, just the way they mentioned. Because one big thing I also mentioned about I used to have a lot of issues with like Batman v Superman was the fact that yeah, they had too many mentions of characters that didn't need to be there, and one of the biggest ones, which is like example, let's bring up again like a Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I
For the
would
most part,
agree.
she didn't need to be
Yeah,
there.
she didn't need to be there. I agree.
She she really didn't. She didn't really serve much other than just
To help
to
fight
let us.
Doomsday. Yep.
Yeah. Other than that, she didn't have a plot. She didn't have a story or mission of her own. She literally was just there for the convenience of reminding us that Justice League is going to be a thing. It's if they would have axed her out of the story completely, just kept the focus on Batman and Superman, that would have been fun. Or hell, one other thing I mentioned too. What if you just scrap the whole thing about Justice League? No mention of Justice League whatsoever. Hell, if you want, we even can scratch Doomsday out of the story.
Oh yeah, please
Scratch
take out Doomsday.
all of scratch all of them outside and make the title more than just this is Superman gonna fight Batman. What this is not just about them fighting each other, but there's also more of a political stance between these two about
Yeah,
who they feel.
yeah, because they established that in the opening scene very well. Like they are on two different sides of the coin, and you're gonna see them
Yeah,
clash. But then you throw Lex Luthor in the mix, and then it gets all kinds of confusing, especially with
and
the character
that yeah,
motivations.
Yeah, exactly. It's like they had a good build up with that, especially with the fact that there's Batman is feared. He uses fear to deal with his criminals, which is maybe to somebody like Superman, that's not right. But
Yeah,
also Superman never been to Gotham, so maybe Superman doesn't know why Batman does it. And then at the same time, Batman's kind of like, well, you know what, and it's kind of like, if you really want to still remind us about what happened in Man of Steel, he can have Superman go like, Batman go like, yeah, and you leveled half of Metropolis. Is you leveled half of Metropolis, and you're worried about me? Is it about what I do? Is that at the very least, at least my criminal is at least what I do doesn't cause half of Gotham. It's a Gotham
yeah.
City and
They
innocent
literally could have
people's
had
lives.
a conversation just like how Punisher and Daredevil did on the rooftop. Literally,
Yeah.
just those two going at it with their words.
Mm-hmm. They literally could have had that, but no, it had to be. It had to be what they did, and it just made me just kind of just sit there, go like okay,
This new Batman movie was I feel like the Robert Pattinson Batman was what should have followed right after Man of Steel, if you think about it.
yeah,
Just cuz
yeah,
the two are tonally different. The two are tonally different, but then they give you like the next step, how this is our next character and this is what he's about and then go on. It felt like an actual solo movie. But then
yeah,
I did also say that it felt like the Batman Begins sequel I wanted because now that I look back at it in retrospect, I like the Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises, but then I feel like Batman's kind of pushed to the side, and then the villains take center stage for me, at least when I watch it. Yeah,
yeah, and that's how. And even within, that's how it feels. In this, like I do like Dark Knight Rises for the most part. My beef was just how they handled the villain. It just, again, I don't like. It doesn't feel like it wasn't really built up enough. It just felt like this whole story was seeming like it was centered around Bane. Come to find out,
oh
no,
yeah,
it's not.
Talia.
It's
Yeah,
it just kind of just feels like you're robbed of a good character,
oh
and
yeah,
then after that, you just don't even look at Bane the same anymore because you're not even the big bad. I shouldn't even be worried about you.
yeah.
You're
He
just
didn't see
a
his
sidekick.
plan 100%. You had to throw in Talia just for that little connective tissue, and just kind of derailed it.
Yeah, and then that's what I'm saying. That'd be like this whole time I was thinking that Riddler's the big bad. I'm find out, oh no, Riddler's the sidekick. He actually works for some X, Y, and Z. It kind of just feels like, wow, you just robbed me, and it's like nothing against Tom Hardy's performance. He did good
Oh
for it,
yeah,
just that
very
big reveal,
quotable.
just that big moment, you're just robbed. It just robs you. You're just like, well, never mind. He's not even the big bad. He's not even the big
Yeah.
bad. So, and it sucks, when stuff like that happens, But otherwise, I mean, yeah,
Oh yeah, that rumor I mentioned about a Joker came true, apparently, right? So what'd you think of
yeah.
this Joker?
I actually had to look up the actor, and honestly, I got to give it to Matt Reeves for actually looking into a lot of the fans' requests about that. Because, so you know who the actor is, right?
Yeah, he played one of the Eternals, and he was that one guy in the Green Knight.
I think, yeah, his character was like named like Do It or Dot or some shit like that
Yeah,
in the
he's the one
Eternals.
talking. I think he was the one talking to Gawain in the Green Knight. I don't know if you've seen it in that one long shot when they were having
I
a conversation.
It's been a long time since I saw the Green Knight,
Oh, okay.
but but
But
yeah,
yeah,
but
just
yeah,
that Eternals guy.
yeah, but but yeah, I because like after, but yeah, a lot of people was saying that he actually would not be a bad Joker. They thought he'd be great for it. I thought it was kind of interesting that Matt Reeves actually listened to a lot of people for that and actually went forward to actually trying to put him in the role as Joker, kind of just to say, yeah, there is a Joker in this universe, and also kind of just to kind of say like, hey, I
He
listen to
exists.
you guys. it's one of those things that's kind of like it's nice when somebody actually does go out their way and does something like that. And I mean, what I think about his Joker, it's too early to say since he was kind of
Oh
more of a
yeah.
short scene.
Hmm.
But I gotta say though, if I do want to see more, I definitely am curious about what more he can do.
Oh yeah, I
It's kind of
agree.
hard, but otherwise, though, yeah, see more. We'll decide from there. And I mean, his laugh was definitely creepy. I will admit. I
Hmm.
was like, oh, hey.
Yeah,
It
that
took me
that
a while to
was that
realize.
was the hardest thing to sell too. Honestly, I was hoping he would have a good laugh, and it's not too over the top, but it's just a good enough crazy. I think that's the best thing that sold it for me. And then I think from the small glances you see of him like through the cell, you can definitely tell like he's just ashy. Like he was, I believe Matt Reeves even said he was born with that condition, to where he looks like the Joker with just the white makeup and whatever and green hair.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking at it too. I was like, Joker? That's the Joker? I was like, wait a minute. Is that Joker? Is that really Joker? Then I saw him. I was like, oh shit, it's the Joker.
Oh, I also love how he interacted with Riddler too, and it feels. Of course, Matt Reeves has also said he loves the '60s Batman, and I like how they kind of incorporated that back and forth dialogue between those two, but then made it like for the modern day, and
Yeah,
yeah, you just feel that you can feel that '60s dialogue in it, but then like it's modern day. I don't know. I just like the little, even though that interaction was very short. I feel like it was so in character for those two to be talking to each other like that, especially with
yeah.
how manipulative the Joker was. He's almost like the Hannibal Lecter, just in the cell, talking to Riddler too.
Yeah, and that also kind of gives even some throwbacks even to how Joker was in Arkham Asylum, how he
Oh yeah,
managed to
yeah.
rally all of
Mm-hmm.
the villains to be like, "Hey, I got a plan for us to, break out and also kill the Batman. You all in?" He literally convinced all of them, almost, hell, even Ivy, and she for the most part was like, yeah, no, I don't want anything to do with it. But he's like, well, how about a little dose of some venom? Maybe you'll see what your true power is. And boom, she's like, okay, some Joker, you're not too bad. I was like, that's so perfect. Ooh, I love that. I love that. It was pretty cool how they did that. And
My friend.
yeah,
Go
it's
ahead.
you good. And yeah, man, it definitely gave me a lot of vibes to like the best way I put it was like it's almost like it gave me a lot of vibes to like a crime noir too, and I really like that. Like, it was
Oh
like
yeah, that's the one thing that was missing from a majority of the Batman movies too. It never really embraced that noir feel. I feel like Batman '89 kind of delved into that, but only like in little increments.
mhm. Yes. And so and yeah, I thought I really liked it. I really liked it. I just really liked how they handled that movie. I was thoroughly thoroughly impressed by it, and I already made it clear that whatever special edition of that movie that they release, I am just gonna go buy it. I'm gonna be the
Can we
first one in
talk
line
about
with.
that opening scene though? I think that is probably the best opening for a Batman movie ever.
Right.
Yeah, like
That
it,
freaking
especially the narration too, and then uh, it's almost like you can see the small little boxes of him narrating in that panel, and then it's just I like that they actually made it feel like a comic book.
dude, right? It's just that fucking in the music they had with it too. Just like, yeah, especially I love that narration. Just the two, so we have a symbol now. Symbol now. It's a, but it's not just a call. It's not just a call.
It's a
It's a
warning.
warning to them. And you just see like how like all the criminals they see the symbol, they're like,
Yeah, and they just make a 180
like,
and look at
it's just
every
like
dark corner.
yeah, it's like it just shows like how much of an impact Batman has made to the point that like the second they see that just like they all tremble in fear knowing that like oh no he's out here, he's probably coming for me because
It
I'm
it
doing
almost
bad things.
it almost makes you wonder what the hell did he do in his year one to get that reputation.
Right. And I was I was talking with my fiance about that too, like about like how even like one example of how of like what they did with it too, that actually made it feel really interesting. How like basically, yeah, in his earlier year, he wasn't a superhero yet. He was mostly a
Mm-hmm.
detective. But
Yeah.
by the end of the movie, he became a hero. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it was like
Yeah.
that right there was just the growth. He stopped because like I mentioned that there was that three quotes he had: "I am vengeance, I am the night, I am Batman."
Batman. Yeah.
Like I'm like in the beginning he was vengeance, at the end he is now the night. This is when he becomes the Dark Knight. He is not just out there beating criminals' teeth out of their faces. Now he's out there. Now he's gonna go out there and protect Gotham's innocent people. It's the innocence. And I'm just like, damn it, Matt Reeves, where have you been all my life for this movie?
I just recently was it. I think around 2020, started listening to Nirvana just out of curiosity, whatever. Just changing my music palette, and then well, what do you know? This movie used in Nirvana, and I'm just like, holy shit! I'm on
you're
board
like,
with this,
you're like, hey, what word? You're like, hey, hold up.
and it just fits it so well, especially with how he uses it in the beginning and in the end.
Right. I was wondering what that song was. I never got a chance to actually look it up, but yeah, I was that song. I was like,
It
hey,
made me
hold
so
up.
giddy when they actually used it in the movie. I was like, I'm hoping it's not just a trailer bullshit where they usually just put in one song, like how Star Wars Episode 9 put in Duel of the Fates and doesn't even put shit in the
Yeah,
fight. I hated that.
yeah. I was just like, yeah, I was just like, oh, when this song is so good. Yeah, just that opening, it was so perfect. I was
And there's
looked at
there's
it.
all those memes on Twitter of just me after the Batman. It's just a person. I think there was like a clip of just Jackie Chan sitting in the passenger while the song was playing, and I'm just like, yo, I agree too hard with that. Because I could not
Great,
stop listening to that song right after.
great. I'm gonna have to look up that song now. I'm probably gonna be listening to that while I'm writing my script because one thing too that I drew a lot of inspiration from was because I've been struggling with this my screenplay, which is all out of the struggle was with the antagonist. And it's like I didn't want to change because a lot of them worked, and I just like, but I'm like I had to find a way how to place them differently, and I
Mm-hmm.
just didn't have a way to place them properly. But that is not until I saw this movie, and I was like, oh my god, that is it. That that's it. And I took some notes and put the story back together, and I managed to get to 20 pages in 2.5 days.
Oh, that is great. I wish I could. I wish I was able to pump out 20 pages at that in those 2 days. But yeah,
Uh,
the I think music really does matter, especially in your writing process too, because that gives you a tone to almost engulf yourself in, and then focus uh, head not head first, straight forward.
mm-hmm, really does. I try to put together little pretend soundtracks that just songs that puts me in the mood for the screenplay, or makes me think about this screenplay when I'm writing it. And I was and I did that with this screenplay too, and I just added 2 songs to it. I got to add that Nirvana song too from Batman because that's just
Oh yeah, that's ultimate grunge. Whatever. I'm not too much of a music aficionado or whatever, but all I know is that what song is or that band is almost perfect for like almost just a downer mood, like down
yeah.
in the dumps mood. And
Mm-hmm.
I also like how in the ending it does what maybe I could be wrong, but I think
Try
it
me.
does it does what other Batman movie hasn't really done, and is that show that he is a hero. He's not just a vigilante, especially with how he goes out and like in the dawn of day, just helping people out too. And I
Mm-hmm.
feel like Dark Knight Rises almost touched upon that, but then the Batman, Matt Reeves, um, makes that point and then hits the hammer into the how the fuck do I say it? It hits it hits the point.
And yeah, it's just I was gonna say technically the only one I can classify that kind of did that was the Dark Knight, but that was kind of like a yes and no its
Oh yeah,
way, which
yeah,
is yeah, he did do that. Like Gordon and his son knew what he did, where he was going out as a hero,
yeah.
but
But
Gotham
yeah, Gotham didn't
viewed
know
him
about
as a
that. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. It was yeah, so I mean that one was more of a yes and no, but I do like the fact that yeah, this is him stepping into now the mantle of being the hero, not
Mm-hmm.
hero in the world is seen. I like the fact that yeah, everybody has this perception of him kind of being like, oh, he's a vigilante who goes on at night and beats up criminals. Because I mean, yeah, it works. That's what he does. You've seen it through
Mm-hmm.
the whole movie. He didn't show him saving people, which is yeah, that's kind of
Yeah,
what
that's
he was
true.
doing. He wasn't going to go stop a lady from being robbed on the street. No,
Yeah,
he
he was
was
going after the heavy
fighting,
hitters. Yep.
yeah, going after just gangs of criminals, beating the crap out of them, and then yeah, going home for the night. I don't know, or even going to the light. But that's why even criminals were looking all weird. All like, you got that, like you brought this guy here, the guy who breaks people's bones. It's like it kind of bring back to the reference a lot of like what they did in like the Arkham games. A lot of the times Batman talked about there's like little old files you can find on Batman's earlier career that talked about the fact that yeah, not a lot of people trusted him because in Batman's
Mm-hmm.
earlier career he would go around beating down criminals and breaking their bones and disappearing. They're like, well, yeah, he helped us catch some criminals, but this guy weirds us out. Like
Yeah.
he scares us.
Yeah, just like how they try to. I don't remember much of Arkham Origins, but it did hit on those points that you made in Arkham Origins, where he's still like he's experienced, but he still has a line that he crosses or whatever, and he doesn't really know how to be a hero. He's just more like a vigilante, like how in this movie he was.
Exactly. And they handled that well. And speaking of another thing too that I heard as a complaint, I only heard this once, and I kind of looked at him like you guys could. Like one coworker mentioned that like he wished that Riddler actually knew who Bruce Wayne was. So that way
Oh,
it gives Batman a reason to kill him. I was like, except for again, I was like, I'm gonna stop you right there. No,
the
if Batman would
dialogue
have killed, I
clearly
would have walked out.
shows. Yeah, the
I'm like,
dialogue
if he
clearly plays that line in between of. Actually, no. Yeah, the dialogue does play in between the line of does he know or does he not know? It's still ambiguous.
I told him, I was like, well, except for man, if you know who Batman is, he doesn't kill though. And if they did that, and and if you weren't aware of the whole thing with Batman v Superman, the second that Batman killed that first dude in the movie, everybody
Oh yeah.
snapped.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I've never seen more pissed off fans in my life. Except, I mean, the most I've seen this many pissed off fans was during the Star Wars sequel trilogy.
Oh Jesus.
I'm like, but like the second that they saw that Batman killed anybody, everybody was like, done. Like we're nope, done. They rated Zack Snyder's freaking like Twitter and everything about like, you kidding me? Did you not read the comics? He does not kill. Why is he killing people? I was like, so yeah, no, that line would never gotten crossed. Or I have a friend at work who jokes about it. And he says, "Oh," he calls that early scene where Batman had the makeup on his eyes or whatever. After
Mm-hmm.
he did his night in the intro, he kept making fun of him, calling him emo Batman and such. It's like, well,
But
I get
clearly,
it, but
that's how he
I
conceals his
get it.
shit, though.
Yeah, right. And then the way I put it, I was like, let's. I don't know. I feel like there is some visual representation behind that. The fact that yeah, he's a sad character.
Mm-hmm.
It's like like trying to. It's a little dramatic on how they did it, I guess. But it works. It visually shows yeah, he's a sad
Yeah.
character. Especially when they start talking about his parents being dead. And you seen it in his face. He like turns off the music and he looks at the TV just like looking like like a set like an abandoned puppy.
Mm-hmm.
It still haunts him.
Yeah, especially with that when Falcone gets shot, right? And then he's like literally
Mm-hmm.
holding him right underneath the light. Like that's how you reference the Wayne murder or what incident that happened without flashing back to it. And I thought that was very really neat how they did that.
Yeah.
It shows that he still has that trauma even though he's years past it. It's still present.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm saying. It's like I'm like even he mentioned it even in the story when he almost lost Alfred. Yeah, you can tell he was not really like on the best terms with Alfred all throughout this movie, but the moment he was about to lose him, he remembered the same fear he felt when he lost his
Yeah.
parents.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like the thing is, Bruce Wayne does care about Alfred, and I know it's just even through not even just Alfred. He's done this with Dick Grayson, with
Mm-hmm.
Jason Todd, and all his sidekicks, and even all his friends. It's not the fact he doesn't like them; it's that he holsters his emotions
Yeah,
about it
has to
because he
keep them at a
feels like,
distance, or else
yeah,
he feels that the same thing would happen with how with his parents.
exactly. He just, that's just how he copes with it. And again, if you don't know that as a from the comics, you've seen it in the movie. He
Mm-hmm.
brings it up.
Yeah.
He goes like, I thought I mastered all my fear, and I thought I could never feel that fear again. That fear of losing someone. And Alfred just takes his hand because he says it without saying it. He doesn't just say it without, it's
Mm-hmm.
because I almost lost you. Yeah, it'd be a little weird if you just looked at him and say, well, I was like, what? I was like, wait. Reword that. That comes off a little weird. But the fear of losing someone he cares about. Who do he's talking about Alfred. He does care about Alfred. Alfred took care of all his parents after his parents
Mm-hmm.
passed. And him thinking about, he's gonna lose him, broke him, you know. And I like, and I like that. I do like that he also kind of has a lot of those depressing, sad mannerisms. I mean, the other anticipations. Yeah, show him as, he's either always aggressive or he's always. I mean, there's ways you can cope with depression that doesn't involve you walking around with. Let's say he shows that. I mean, yeah, he doesn't show that he cares for Alfred because I mean, even from both a comic book standpoint and if you've played the Arkham games or at least know of the television series, Batman never shows that he cares about Alfred unless he knows he's about to lose him. Then
Mm-hmm.
he melts because he's like he does care about him, but like we just said, he holsters those emotions. It's one of those, and it's kind of just one of those things that's kind of like you never realize how much you care. Realize how much someone really means to you when you're
Yeah.
minutes from losing them,
Mm-hmm.
and that's just kind of what happened here, like even with him using the comment about like you're not my, like you're not my father, it
But that's
father,
literally the only father figure he has left too.
exactly, and the way even and also put it in this way as a part of his level of growth too. He at the time he didn't know about the sins of his father, and so
Mm-hmm.
he probably had an image of how he viewed his father, probably compared to how he views Alfred. He's a father figure, but he's not
Yeah,
exactly
not
like my
exactly his
dad.
dad. Yeah.
Yeah, but when he realized, his dad, even Bruce Wayne's dad, wasn't even perfect. He's kind of like, what the like his world changed
Mm-hmm.
completely, and but otherwise, I mean, yeah, I just feel like that works for who he is, it works for the story, and it doesn't strive off the path of who Bruce Wayne or Batman is. I, I mean, and trust me, I'm usually the most airtight about it, not just as a writer, but as a comic book fan, because I mentioned to you, but multiple times on our podcast, if
Oh shit.
better in the games, the comics, or the previous version of it. Oh, gotcha.
Okay, go on.
Okay. If there was something that was done better in the comics, the movie, the previous version of the movie, or the video games, and you don't bring it to and you don't utilize it in some way in this movie, shame on you. There is no excuse. You can't just say, I didn't know. Why are you writing the movie if you don't know? Again, this is why we wind up with situations like Zack Snyder. Why we wind up with
Mm-hmm.
situations like whatever that dude's name is, Uwe Boyles or Bowie or whatever his name is, the guy who did
That name
who
sounds
did the Dead or
familiar.
Alive movie.
Oh, okay.
Uh, yeah, him, man. That's why we wind up with movies like that. You make these movies and your only knowledge of it is just like a paragraph you found on a wiki.
think I think the good point that you bring up is how they should implement like important aspects from other media um into like whatever they're gonna adapt. Because for this Batman, I know they adapted stuff from like the Earth One comics, which humanized the Batman character more. Because instead of just having him have white eyes, you can see his actual irises through his mask and stuff. So I like that they implemented that aspect into the movie too, to where you can see that he's not just a creature; he's an actual human. And then, especially with how they had the long Halloween as a inspiration to tell the Riddler's story, and how it was like a string of murders too. And not only that, it was also showing a different side of the Waynes or the Wayne family too. Like that's another important aspect to hit on too, because it'll give audiences a different lens to see the Batman mythos through, and I think they should really do that a lot more. Like, sure, you can stick with the comics and all that, but then you might. Oh God,
Yeah,
am I frozen? Okay, I'm good. Like you can stick to the comics, still
yeah,
have the visuals, but like still take like all those important elements from it. You got it right.
yeah, yeah. I've heard all that, and yeah, and that's just the thing. It's just there. Because there's no excuse for it. Point being, there's no excuse to half-ass the story or not tell the story in a respectable way. Honestly, I feel like, especially if you care about this product, you got to feel at some level of being offended by it if you feel like there's certain aspects of it that's done wrong,
hmm
or there's ways out of it that can be improved. Because if you don't, they're just gonna think that they can just continue to just lazy or be half-ass the job
Yeah.
and be like, "Yep, now give me my paycheck. You want me to pay you for half-assing this comic book? Again, why am I hiring you if you ain't gonna put the time and effort to read it? Even if you don't like the superhero or care about it, like hell, this one blows my mind still to these days. J.J. Abrams, he's flat out say he hates the Star Wars.
Oh
He
yeah,
likes Star
yeah.
Trek more. I'd still look at it like, again, I'm like, I don't really like Aquaman. I'm not crazy about him, but I can respect the movie. I respect
I
his
agree.
movie. I
I
respect
agree.
his comics. If I if Warner Bros. Called me up now and said, "Hey, I want you to write Aquaman 3," because I know they're already working on 2, so I can't really say 2. But if they try to hire me up and say, "Hey, I want you to work on Aquaman 3," I'm like, okay, I will go on Amazon, buy at least 20 comics, and I will read them. I will pull up on fandom. I will study it. Even if I don't like the character, I will study my ass off
Yeah,
for it.
because when they
Because
choose you, you have the due diligence to at least service the story or the character rather than just make a quick paycheck.
mhm, that's yeah, that's just the point being.
Oh yeah, speaking of
This
that, I was thinking about I thought about this because it might seem doable. I thought about doing or writing a Highlander fan film. Are you familiar with
mm,
Highlander?
I am
With
familiar with
the yeah,
Highlander.
yeah. So I
Yeah.
rewatched it. Was it a third time? I believe. Well, yeah, movies they got that '80s cheese to it, but it can be done well in like a modern setting with modern sensibilities and all that. Because they're already gonna remake it with Henry Cavill. So there's that.
Yeah.
Because it's, I mean, I don't know if you've seen me do that Black Dragon uh, s- trilogy that I did, but it's basically kind of like that, but with just weapons and whatever.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be like good choreography. It could just be like a really simple sword play, whatever, and it works. It can still fit in with the tone of the '80s and whatever, just all that.
Yeah. This is it. That wouldn't be a bad idea, especially because I've mentioned to you about the fan fiction competition, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, it'd be a good spot to definitely put it in, especially if you get it completed. I mean, what's the hurt? And plus, it helps stand some of their fan fiction screenplays out because most people that's going to probably go into that. It's going to be like doing like a fan fiction for
Oh
like
yeah. Mm-hmm.
basically any popular comic book hero,
Yeah.
and then I try to approach that competition without going that route because I know the comic book characters fairly well and I can write their stories fairly easily. And I'm like, that's boring to me. I need to be challenged a little bit. I started taking notes for a Predator movie.
A Predator fan?
I yeah, definitely.
Oh, okay. Dang.
I'm so sick. So sick of them just not doing that series any justice. It just seems like
Oh no! Why did you
as time
remind
goes.
me? Son of a bitch! I forgot about those
Oh yeah.
terrible Predator, terrible Predator movie. Oh my god!
Oh, I didn't.
Oh yeah. Funny thing
Uh,
is, I have the Jungle Hunter figure right on my right, and when you mentioned Predator, I looked at the figure and I'm like, wait a minute, they made that shitty giant 10 feet tall Predator.
yeah. Oh, I get bigger by taking spinal fluid. I was like, yeah, what? I was like, what? What? I was like, I was like, we're just sat here like, who wrote this shit? Oh, Sean Black.
the
Hey man,
they have
uh,
so much history and lore to work with, and I don't know why they went with that, especially with the comics.
like I said, this is what happens when you lazy that.
Okay, yeah, that just reminded me. I think they are doing like a Predator prequel thing called Prey, and I don't know about that under Disney. I'm hope we'll always have Predator 1, 2 Predators, but then I'm still afraid for Prey. But we'll just have to wait and see.
You better change that title. I forgot Disney owns that owns that IP too.
Oh yeah, fuck. Now we're just re-triggering memories. Yeah, I I think I'm just re-triggering things we forgot that happened with other franchises now since we were praising Batman so much.
Yeah, the computer's like, not those, not those. I understand. I understand. I sometimes have to bash myself on my head. I have to like force myself to study the bad stuff to help remind myself not of what not to do.
Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah, what did you think of Predators by with Robert Rodriguez directing?
oh, that was fantastic. I
Okay.
thought it was good. I thought it was really good. I just
Even if it was like a big retread of part 1.
yeah,
Cuz I've had
that's
to
the
come to
thing.
terms I've had to come to terms with that when rewatching it.
Yeah, yep. And apparently, it was a lot more in depth with story behind the predators themselves that wasn't really touched
Oh
upon about the
yeah.
fact that, well, like, why that predator was actually stalking those humans. If they would, because I think one thing is that they never really touched upon the lore behind even the predators outside of them just being like on like
Different, yeah.
screaming hunters. I was like, because they speak their own languages
Mhm.
and they have their own civilization. I feel like that'd be a good way to implement them to kind of implement a lot of their characteristics, but especially with that, I feel like they would have implemented that would have gave some more depth behind. Otherwise, it just kind of I feel like to some degree it can just be a little confusing on why is one predator nice to the humans and not the
Yeah.
other,
I
and
think
it just kind
I just got a good idea for a Predator movie now. Now that you
of,
bring
man,
it up,
what?
I'm pretty sure someone's done it somewhere, but I was thinking more like a what you might call it, like a Last Samurai or Dances with Wolves, but with predators, where it's a human learning their culture and stuff. I think that'd be interesting. I'm pretty sure someone's already done it, but hey, you get your lore.
Honestly, I kind of doubt that it hasn't been done by Hollywood film standards,
Yeah,
maybe by fan film. It's been done. There's definitely not a comic that's like that. I was when I was writing it, I was gonna do along the lines similar to like the fact that that the humans are learning who the predators are as they're trying to survive. With someone being more close minded about it, while others not as close minded. I kind of wanted to go the route of kind of similar to like doing like a battle royale, but Predator set in. Good, good, okay. And that's what I was trying to go for. I haven't touched it in a couple months because I've been busy with life and screenplays. But otherwise, I mean, I kept the notes. I definitely want to try to reopen it up soon once I get what I currently have on my workstation completed, because I'm tired of having to put stuff up on the shelf and come back and do it later. I know I want it all done. I want it done. So, but
Speaking of trying to write stuff, I was struggling to. I think I even messaged you about it. I was struggling to write. Was it like a retrospective? Because how much of Bruce Lee knowledge do you know?
say that name again.
How much Bruce Lee knowledge do you have?
Bruce Lee knowledge. I know enough.
So you're familiar with how the Game of Death backstory and how that movie was created and stuff, right? Or not really?
Actually, I do not know that background. I'd
Oh,
like to
okay,
hear it though.
okay. Yeah. So Bruce Lee died after he filmed the fight scenes for the movie Game of Death, which was supposed to be his project after Enter the Dragon, but then yeah, so he died from like brain aneurysm or something. And then, so he got popular with Enter the Dragon, but then that was already after his death. So they released the movie Game of Death after Enter the Dragon, but it's like he only has his fight scenes, and then the rest is just like a reworked plot with like a stand-in actor. Yeah, but then you want to know what's even worse? They have footage of his funeral when they fake the character's death. Yeah. Yeah. I was gonna write a retrospective of that because I grew up watching the Game of Death that came out theatrically or whatever on VHS. So that's my one of my memories of Bruce Lee. But then I was unaware that that was like 80% a different actor, only like 30%, no 20% Bruce Lee. So that's why I was like conflicted on if I should write it praising it or not, because apparently the original plot was supposed to be a lot more Bruce Lee philosophy fighting and stuff or whatever, rather than the plot where it's an actor who fakes his death and then takes revenge on a syndicate.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So you got the mix of nostalgia and the facts, and then it's a whole shitstorm if I try to reason with it. So I just kind of dropped it.
Yeah. I mean, I get that. It definitely would be an interesting retrospective to look at, because that is definitely something that's still even a struggle. I even still hear, this is it's really not about like Bruce Lee or anything, but this is something similar to even like what Fast and Furious go through.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I I cannot tell you how many people I've heard say like, "Hey, why don't they just get Paul Walker's brother to play Brian? I mean, he's dead in once." I'm like, that's because he died
Yeah.
unexpectedly. That's a little different. I'm
In the
like, you're
middle of the
asking
shoot.
this guy to play a character who is dead, whose actor is dead. It's not the same, and it's also kind of insulting to
Mm-hmm.
insulting. I was like, you realize how many people would be pissed about that? I mean, they kind of tried to do that. Even like I remember there was something I did hear about with Bruce Lee that they tried to do something similar to that after Bruce Lee died. They tried to have Jackie Chan take over and
Oh
beat
yeah,
him for his
yeah.
moves.
Mm-hmm.
One Jackie Chan couldn't implement the move sets the way Bruce Lee did, and two,
Yeah,
I
I
think
think yeah, that's
when
where
he
the
did it,
string
they
of Bruce exploitation movies came too, where it's all these like bootleg Bruce Lee actors coming in.
yeah, it's just like it's one of those things that's like, look, man, you can't do that. It doesn't work. I mean, even when Nine kind of poked at the fact that Brian driving up in the movie was kind of just like I was like, okay, just don't. don't go any further than that,
Yes,
Vin
exactly.
Diesel. But don't go any further than that. If you go any further than that, I was like, it's okay if it's okay if we don't talk about Brian. We all know the actor is dead.
Mm,
If you don't, like sometimes there's things we don't need to talk about. You don't if you don't acknowledge it,
yeah,
it
yeah,
won't
yeah.
not
You
be.
don't have to. Yeah.
You don't acknowledge it, it won't be a problem. But of course, you're kind of
Mm-hmm.
you're kind of dry humping the idea, Mister Diesel, and it's kind of making me like oh, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. I
Have you
mean,
watched The Boys or caught up?
I have not seen The Boys actually.
Oh, you have? Okay, then I'll just let my video speak for itself because that's the one I'm working on in place of the Bruce Lee
Mm,
one.
okay,
Yeah.
all right, I'll peep. All right, I'll peep it when you drop it. Yeah, I've been told to watch it. I will not lie to you. I suck when it comes to shows. I don't really follow shows very well.
Oh yeah, same here too. It's hard to commit to one show if you're not invested in it or die hard about
Hmm.
it.
Yeah. So I
Because
mean,
even I'm pretty sure even I have that issue. I watched this first season of The Sopranos just to kill time on the treadmill, and then I never picked it up again.
The Sopranos is different. I can get that one. I didn't even finish it. I know enough about it just because my one film teacher just told me that we should study it. I was like, didn't everybody say that shit sucked though? Because I was like, why am I studying this? This show kind of sucks because it was supposed to teach you a lesson. I was like, not to write for the not to write Soprano style movies. I don't know. I was like, he's like, you'll figure it out. I was like, well, I figured it out. Not to don't write nothing like this, but yeah, I mean, I was gonna say it's like one of those things. It's like if I can find a way to squeeze it in my schedule for my day, maybe I might be able to commit a bit more better. But I will admit I suck at doing that.
Mm.
So most of my time is either trying to play video games, trying to write, trying to
Same.
clean, trying to plan out my writing, feed my feed my four-legged children, and yeah,
I've been on that Elden Ring craze a bit for the weekends.
I've heard I heard it's good. I do want to get it, but I am broke.
I'd say it's I think it's also because I've already had experience with that was it die repeat die genre that I'm just a little more used to it. But for newcomers, it's not bad. It holds your hand a little more, but I feel like it could be frustrating because the AI is a little bit more different from the previous die repeat die games.
Yeah, you're right. I've heard it is, but I've heard it's got a lot of praise, and plus I'm a sucker. Plus, it sounds like it's pretty interesting. A lot of its gameplay, so
Yeah, especially the lore too. But then I already that's a whole other thing.
makes sense. Makes sense.
How to put it in shortest words? Think Greek gods, but cooler.
Okay, that interesting. I'll have to look into that. It's like also I'm a little late to this gameplay party, but I started playing God of War, the fourth one.
Oh, that's a good one too.
Yeah, I'm late. I'm way late, and
That's
honestly, I feel
fine. I was only a year late because I didn't have a PlayStation 4 at the time.
when that game come out again, 2014, something like that.
2018, I believe.
I'm like I'm 4 years late.
Well,
I'm 4 years.
better late than never. But then you played the previous God of War games, right?
Of course.
Yeah. Okay.
Man,
Then yeah, this one you already know the story. I'm assuming, or no?
I haven't finished it, but I do
Oh.
know the story. I know what the plot is of the story for the most
Oh.
part.
Okay. Then yeah, it's I think it's a good evolution of Kratos' character for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because if they didn't do something else with his character, I was not gonna lie. I was
Yeah,
gonna
it's
say
gonna go
he's kind of
stagnant.
getting. Yeah, I
Hmm.
was gonna say he's kind of boring. He's just an angry. He's just an angry guy who likes killing things. There's no growth with his character. He's literally just the same. He's same person again. No, they gave him and they changed him, and I like that. And I liked how they handle like how the Greek, how one realm of gods don't like accept, do not
Oh
handle
yeah,
other realm of gods
I like
fairly
that.
well. I'm not gonna lie. I also guess who the first boss was. I don't know if you
Oh, you
finished the
did.
game
Oh,
or
I have. I have.
yeah, I guessed him right off the rip who it was, and this was a complete accident. I shit you not. I shit you not. But the strange, yeah, he's like he just the way his mannerism was a punch. My turn, and then he went since the girl's like, oh, so you're a god? Okay, that's nice to know. Which one are you though? I was like, I gotta dig my Norse mythology brain now, figure it out. I'm like, well, let's see. You're not Thor because you don't have a hammer. You're definitely not Loki. That wouldn't make any sense. But I was like, looking, I was like, you're not. I was like, if you're Odin, that's gonna be stupid because I figured Odin would be the final boss and not you. So I was looking, I was like, I was like, Thor has another brother, right? Balder, I think. I was like, I'm gonna go with you're supposed to be Balder. I was like, but I don't know, man. I don't know my Norse mythology fairly well, so I'm just gonna just gonna leave it alone.
Oh,
Sure enough,
this game got me into Norse mythology. Like I listened to was it the audiobook by Neil Gaiman, and I think
mm-hmm.
it retells yeah, it retells basically the popular Greek stories. And now I know where they got that inspiration for Final Fantasy VII, where Cloud dresses up as a girl. Because there's a short story where Thor dresses up as a girl to get his hammer back, and I'm just like, all right, I see you.
Like, okay, but yeah, I was looking at that. I was listening at, it, but then um, Atreus is talking about it. So just he just mentions it. He's like, oh yeah, and there's also Balder. Chris like Balder. Like, yeah, got Thor's brother. The one, the God that feels no pain. I was like, I took a fucking guess, man. I didn't actually think that was him. Okay, I was like, well, Thor, listen, I just killed your brother, man. I might, but the point don't, man. You're next. I'm gonna beat you upside your head with. I'm gonna beat you to death with your hammer. I'm guessing that's what I'm gonna be doing. I don't know. Don't tell me if that's what you actually do, but I'm sure that's how he dies. So, but yeah, I was just like, but yeah, I was just so shocked when I realized I was actually right about that. It's like,
I don't know if this
but
I don't know if this info bit will ruin your experience or whatever, but the Norse saga is only a duology. It's not going to be a trilogy.
that doesn't ruin anything.
Okay, okay, okay.
I figured. I didn't think it was gonna be all that long. A lot of Norse mythology stories are never that long. They're they have an extensive story, but they usually wrap it up around Ragnarok, and the next one's already been titled Ragnarok.
Yeah,
So yeah, we could just put it this way: it's definitely the end is nigh,
already,
as
which
they would say.
it it's cool, but it also makes me fear that they might rush some things. But I mean, they already had it like a bunch of stuff planned for the first game, so we'll
Mm-hmm.
probably just see the rest of the story play out probably in Ragnarok.
Yep, that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking too. When I heard about it, I was like, oh boy. I was like, ooh, Ragnarok. I know that story. I know what happens. And I mean, it makes me a bit more excited to play it now. I mean, I do want to play more of it. I haven't touched it since yesterday. But yeah. But yeah, I think it's a really good game though. I fuck. I personally enjoy it, and yeah.
What's your favorite Arkham game?
City,
Okay, okay, yeah, same here. Arkham City is
City.
what made Batman cool for me. Cool again for me, honestly. That opening with him as Bruce Wayne going through all that prison gate and all that, like
Mm-hmm.
breaking at the yeah, it's just It's the perfect setup to a Batman game, honestly. And all those boss fights, especially the Mister Freeze one, where you have to think outside the box. It's a simple fight, but it makes you think of different scenarios. It almost makes you feel like you're the Batman. Arkham Knight, I never bothered to play, even though I know it's like updated and all that. I just
The
watched the
tone.
cutscenes for Arkham Knight.
I will
That's it.
say. Oh, sorry. I
No,
was gonna say the tone of the Batman definitely borrows a lot of it from Arkham Knight. If
yeah,
you wanted
I
to
can
get,
feel that
but
from the few
so
minutes I played.
yeah, so I will definitely say though, with seeing that feel made me feel like, oh yeah, I was playing Arkham Knight again, and actually kind of felt good. I don't hate Arkham Knight; it's not bad. It is good. Honestly, I will. Where do I even rank that? I almost story wise, it's weaker. Is it weaker though than that
I think it's
one?
just
Uh,
I think it's just predictable.
I mean,
That for
yeah,
me
it's.
at least.
I mean, yeah, but some, I feel like the story is too weak. I get what they did with the ending. The ending would work, and I think a
Hmm.
more different scenario. I don't like it for that one, just because I just hated how that one played, how Arkham Knight played out in general. Uh, I can't decide whether or not I hated Arkham Origins more than Arkham Knight's storyline.
I think Arkham Origins' only highlight was probably the boss fights. That whole roster of bosses.
True. I wish Deathstroke was not the first boss. I wish he was a later one,
Hmm.
but
Yeah.
that's that's a whole different other discussion. But other than that, I mean, Arkham Knight did Deathstroke's boss fight so dirty though. It made me go look at Arkham and was like,
Oh, I
wow,
forget
like
what happened to Deathstroke in Arkham Knight.
his boss fight is nothing. It's a copied and paste boss fight you did earlier against a tank
Oh,
in the
okay,
Batmobile.
okay. And now I remember. I
You
remember
don't.
people
You do
complaining
not
about
fight
that.
Deathstroke hand to hand. No, you fight him in a fucking vehicle. I was like, are you kidding me? Arkham Origins lets you fight him fight him hand to hand. Why am I fighting him in my fucking car? I can get out and kick his ass. What the? I was like, I was like, guys. I was like, Rocksteady, you're making me a little salty right now.
uh,
It just I mean, yeah, it looks gorgeous though.
yeah, it
Visually,
does.
it's gorgeous. I love the character models. Characters look great too.
Updated
I
too.
just I just hate the story. Otherwise, I mean, if they would have, otherwise, if they used like that setting of Gotham for like any other Batman after Arkham City, dude, I would probably would have like went before Rocksteady Studio and like bowed down before like I'm not worthy. But otherwise, I mean, it's not like I said, story sucks. Gameplay can suck, especially when they put too much reliance on the Batmobile. It kind of
Oh
just
yeah,
feels
I didn't
more
like
annoying.
that
It feels
aspect.
yeah, it's really annoying. It's like, look, I went 3 games without fucking car. Why all of a sudden now it's like I can't do nothing unless I have my car, you know? If they did like little pieces here and there, I'd forgive it a bit more better, but they didn't do that. But yeah, no, by far Arkham City is my favorite one. The story is so good. The characters are
Hmm.
so good. The acting is, God, it's so good. Even the one thing I wouldn't give Arkham Knight that actually almost feels a lot more better that they did better than any of the other ones, almost better than Arkham City. What's the crime cases? The only
Oh,
reason why I
okay.
give Arkham City is Arkham City yeah, it's just the only reason why I give Arkham City more props because it had more crime cases. Arkham Knight didn't. Arkham Knight had some pretty impactful cases, which is why I was like, oh, you're kind of getting there to Arkham City, but Arkham City has more cases and they're still pretty impactful. You're not there yet, Arkham City. You're getting there. You're getting there. Work on them a bit more. You'll be there. You know, like they brought in Professor Pig, Deacon Blackfire, the Man Bat. It just those cases were so good. They were so good to investigate in, and these were characters that I was like, oh God, these are names I haven't seen in years. We're like, okay, what? No, I like the Arkham City's case is better because, like, we had the the implementation of even Hush's story.
Oh
Implemented murder
yeah.
victims and what was like just the cases were better. And Arkham City overall, Arkham City is perfect. I thought about playing it because I have it for the 4, and I have only platinum that game once on the 3. And I thought about saying, you know what? How about I make my life a little bit more useful and actually platinum that game for the 4? Because you know what? I like Arkham City and I enjoyed Arkham City. So,
Arkham City is just probably top tier Batman game. The most.
right.
I mean, imagine going from Batman Begins, the video game, to Batman Arkham City. That was like that high of a jump is like fantastic.
Yeah, that's like, right. It's just so good.
Like you go
Otherwise, I think
from
number
just
2
being
for me.
rigid. You go from being rigid to just super fucking agile out of nowhere, and all the gadgets without having to press a prompt button.
Right. Otherwise, I think number 2 for me would probably be Arkham Asylum. It's just the nostalgic aspect, and plus, I like the setting of it being more nighttime with its dark asylum with like crazed lunatics and criminals.
I like the
It
enclosed
gives
space.
it.
The enclosed space really helped to feel claustrophobic.
Yeah, it gave it a different touch to the series to Batman that actually I did not think that could actually exist, and it actually was pretty dope. You know, I will admit there was some flaws with it, but also at the time it wasn't even Rocksteady that
Oh
worked on
yeah,
that game; it was Square Enix.
yeah.
So,
It's
I mean,
still in
other
its
than
early
that, though, I mean, the game
stages.
was yeah. Otherwise, I liked the game. I liked it. And 3 is the tough spot because
Yeah.
I played I played through Arkham Origins. I both like it and hate it at the same time. I hate it in the aspect that there's so many things that could have been done better with it, and it kind of feels like a big slap in the face to the other two, to the first two, especially from the fact that Arkham City was your
Yeah.
peak, and this is what we get.
And Origins didn't have Kevin Conroy or Mark Hamill either, so it did kind of throw you off voice wise. I feel like you were playing a
Yep,
different game.
yep. And just that game committed the same sin that Dark Knight Rises did, which was, oh, Black Mask is the big bad, calling the shots. Oh no,
Oh
he's
no,
not.
it's Joker.
That's had nothing. Nope, it's the Joker. I was like, don't get me wrong, I love the Joker, but this is one of those times where I was like, I was like, really?
Yeah,
Why would
that need to
Joker
happen.
disguise himself? The Joker wouldn't care that he committed the crime, committed it. He would literally come out like, "Yep, that was me. I called the
Yeah,
assassins. They're coming to kill you now."
yeah.
He's
He would
not
not
gonna
hide
hide
under
it.
that mask. It would not make sense.
I don't know. I was like, I don't know why you did that, but whatever, man. But
It's
and
almost like
I
that
don't
Bane
like.
quote. It's like that Bane quote. Theatricality for the initiated, but we are initiated.
Are we? Are we, Bruce? I'm like fucking. Because yeah, and plus that game is so buggy and glitched. They never fixed them, and I feel
I
so disheartening by that.
I never ran across any bugs, but I think that's probably because I was playing on the only through the story and never touched it again. That's why.
Yeah, don't play through the Arkham challenges or anything else because they're fucking broke. They are fucking broke, and it's insulting how broken they are. And plus, you can tell they copied and pasted aspects from
Oh yeah,
from
yeah,
Arkham City. That it's
yeah.
just
You can see the was it the word assets being reused just because it was an easy copy paste.
yeah. I was just like, ah, damn it, y'all. What the fuck?
I think that's enough
Yeah,
Batman for today. We're just gonna go from praising to just what the fuck did they do here? We're
yo.
just gonna
And
go
then of
down that
course,
rabbit hole, of just praising to just what the hell did they do here?
yep. And then obviously we already went over Arkham Knight. I mean, if anything,
Mm-hmm.
I can definitely give it praise for how they did Riddler. Riddler was great
Mm-hmm.
in that game.
I'm ready for that sequel. Give me that sequel.
Dude,
I
the
don't care if Mr.
fucking
Freeze is the villain. I
movie,
just want another compelling Batman story.
right? I'm not gonna lie, I thought about it because like that competition will pitch it to the studios. I'm like, I'm like, what if I wrote that sequel? I was like, I just might, but man, that's too fucking easy. And I just feel like
Yeah.
that's just selling myself short, man. I don't want to just write a stupidly easy screenplay, man.
Uh,
But but yeah, man. Yeah,
yeah.
excuse me.
Here's to hoping Superman gets the treatment that Batman does, because the only way
Yeah,
forward for DC now is gonna be Battinson. But that's how I feel
yeah,
though.
yeah. And I don't even think it's just in that you had Superman, any other DC hero that expects to have the same success that this Batman or even Batman in general has been having. If you want that same success, they're gonna have to really look at what they're doing because yeah, at this point, the only thing that's keeping DC afloat is
Is
Batman, and
Batman,
that's kind
yeah.
of sad.
And
I mean, like I said,
back
I
to
love.
square one. Back to square one, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not wrong. I love Batman and all, but man, I also am a big fan of the DC comics too, man. I'm like, I want to see more. I want to see Green Arrow's movie at some point. I
Mm-hmm.
want to see a movie even. I want to even see a movie about Black Canary or even fucking the Lantern Corps. But I'm like, at this
Oh
point, we're never
yeah.
gonna get them
The
because
Lantern Corps
they're
is gonna
just.
take forever to happen.
Yeah, we
Let's just
still don't
face
know
it.
when that's coming. Yes, they recently said, "Oh, we're gonna make a television series," but they also
It's
just
been
recently backed out
quiet
of
this
that.
entire time. The Lantern show.
Yep, I'm just like, okay, okay. I was like, okay, sure, man. I guess whatever.